A peak through the 12 must be love. Scratch 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12 out of race 3. The fourth race has no changes. Race 5, scratch number 4, Parsimony. Scratch the 4, Parsimony, in race 5. Sixth race, no changes. In the seventh race, scratch 10, Search for Truth, 14, Jarreau, 15, Orchestration, and 16, Taiwanaku. Scratch 2, 14, 15, and 16. And note that number 11, Carloon, wears a hood again. In today's eighth race, there are no changes. The ninth race is the Risk-Averse Stakes for 3-year-old fillies. Scratch number 8, Spirit and Glory. Scratch the 8, Spirit and Glory. And in today's 10th race, scratch 3, Hudson Overpass, and scratch the also eligibles, 13 Hatch through the 16, Storm Shooter. Race 10, scratch 3, 13, 14, 15, and 16. Main track fast, turf course is good. We'll come back at 12:30 to reprise the changes. First race post is at 1:05. Up next, Serling, Stabile, Talking Horses.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to day 31 of the Saratoga Meet. Talking Horses 31. The Big A, Anthony Stabile, Andy Serling, coming to you from a glorious day here at Saratoga. Back on the turf today. Turf is listed as good, both courses. Rails are down on the Mellon turf, as many will remember, or some will. They were 27 feet the last couple of weeks. Rails are up 9 feet on the inner turf course, which I think is important because it'll mitigate that inside bias that we've seen over the last 2 weeks.
Take that path and a half away, if you will.
Just changes everything. It just sort of moves things out. And I think in a lot of ways it'll probably make the races a bit more fair. Looking forward to getting back in action on the turf. After yesterday, our first turf out. It wasn't a rain out. It was a beautiful day.
It was.
But we were off the turf.
We had a fast track and everything.
We doubled the number of turf races we've lost. We're still only at 10 for the meet, but we're happy to be back on the turf. The Risk-Averse, the feature, a horse Anthony and I were both big fans of. Head over to Naira Bets. If you're not a member of Naira Bets, no better time than the present. Use the promo code TOGA200, and we will match for $200 of your initial deposit. Play through Naira Bets. Keep the money in the game. We have the, one of your favorites, Anthony, the $10,000 late pick
Love
5
this
bonus.
one.
Got to opt in for that, but you'll share in $10,000 with anyone that hits the pick 5 as well. If you should hit it, a terrific, terrific bonus. That's the late pick 5, Naira Bets, not chicken feed. What else do we have? We have the, you love the low rollers contest. We all love the low rollers contest. Jay and Ray, $40 buy-in, $30 bankroll, $10 for the prize pool. Go over to the Miller Time 4-Star Dave bar, see Jay and Ray, sign up. A lot of fun, good crowd for that every week, always a good time. And I think last but not least, drum roll please, 1 to 6:30, all on FS2, all the races. Thank you, Johnny, appreciate that.
Wow.
He's been providing sound effects over there.
He's,
know?
he's
ask for, like,
a man
thunder.
of many talents.
He really is. He really is. You all right today? You look a little grumpy today.
No,
Everything all
I'm
right?
good. I'm great.
Okay. Okay.
I'm actually in good. I'm looking forward to tonight, BCCA tonight.
That's right. The Belmont Child Care Association's annual dinner fundraiser is tonight. And if you're not familiar with the Belmont Child Care Association, I mean, we're, at NYRA, between BEST, the Backstretch Employees Services Team, the BCCA, the Belmont Child Care Association, as well as the New York Chaplaincy, all very, very fine organizations doing a great deal to support people on the backstretch. And if you're not familiar with them, really worth looking them up. In
Absolutely.
the BCCA, we have the Anna House up down at Belmont. We have Faith's House here in Saratoga, and it's a really, really terrific organization that looks to give back to the backstretch workers who do so much to enable all of us to make a living and you to enjoy the racing.
Exactly. Yeah, they're gonna send me after the money again tonight. So.
You revved up at the chaplaincy, but now you're like in full.
Could you
ready?
imagine? I got the race under my belt last
You really
Wednesday.
didn't. I mean, you only had one thing to auction off. Next, that was really a tune-up.
But I was going to be another call
was a
to
workout.
action. It's going to be a call to action tonight as well.
Were you breezing or handily?
Well, we don't even use Handley anymore,
I
do
know.
we? And,
What happened to Handley?
California uses it sometimes. Have to be
It's all subjective
contrarians,
anyway.
I guess.
Anyhow, race number 1, we've got some horses that have had their chances, like Necromancer and Naked and Famous. Rui Rodriguez getting his second win in the meet with an upset winner of yesterday's last race. That was an overlay at 10 to 1.
Yeah. Too big a price.
Getting it done, I agree. Way too big a price in there. And you've got a couple of first-time starters. You have gone to Robertino Diodoro's first-time starter, Supersonic.
Yeah, Miss Mary Pat Dam was 3 for 5. This is a daughter of son of, I should say, of Practical Joke. 59 out of the gate. Now, Andy, with the younger horses, I'd much rather see the penultimate work be the gate work. But this is an older horse, 3-year-old gelding debuting at the end of August. Like the gate move, Ricardo Santana Jr., not a lot of speed, really. I mean, Naked and Famous showed some speed in the debut, but not a ton of speed from the 3 who've run already, so I'll take my chances with the first.
Yeah, I mean, the ones that ran Naked and Famous is way the horse to beat, just ran against a superior group showing that speed, and you have to imagine that horse will be very forward. Naked and Famous is the horse to beat, and in my opinion, Rudy's stats or not, is supposed to be favored in this
Yes.
race. As far as Supersonic, you've got a horse that sold as a yearling for $175,000 and has more of a turf dam side pedigree, shore runner actually, a half of this horse, a nice horse that ran around here, a very, very effective horse, ran a 99
Won the
buyer on
Troy,
turf.
right?
Not sure, may have, and a 92 buyer on the dirt. I don't, you have an interest in workouts that I don't agree with, but in my estimation, that 59-2 workout says, please claim me. This horse is running for $20,000 first time out. I won't be surprised if he wins. Robertino Diodoro with first-time starters in maiden claiming races on the dirt over the last 5 years, just 5 for 23, $1.46 ROI. Not something you think of with a trainer who just doesn't have that many horses here. And really, we've seen him have a bigger impression on the meet than he has other years. I like Monterey Peninsula, and I understand. You look and you say, it's a 5-year-old first-time starter. What kind of idiot right here would bet this horse? Me. There's plenty of pedigree in this horse. And I looked up some stats on Wesley Ward. Now, we'll show you a more generic stat for Wesley. First-time stars in the dirt and maiden claimers and sprints. He's
Wow.
40% with 42 stars and a 275 ROI. Let me just break some of those down.
That's a crazy number, huh?
3-year-olds and up, he's 6 for 15, 40%, 389 ROI. And 4-year-olds and up, he's 1 for 1 with a $13 winner at Keeneland. So it feels like Wesley Ward. I know. You see, when I originally saw it, I said a 5-year-old first-time starter, he's going to be my first pitch. And the more I looked, I don't want to pick Rudy at a short price, but I definitely think the Naked and Famous is way the horse to beat in this race. I don't even think it's close. And I'm not picking the Diodoro first or win or lose. That horse is going to beat me. I'm going to go to Monterey Peninsula for Wesley Ward, who it just seems like Wesley Ward leads the league every year in winning with weird horses. Doesn't he?
That's for sure.
Right?
There's no stat on that.
There isn't, but
'Cause
in the
weird
weird
is
horse,
subjective.
in the weird horse category, Wesley Ward seems to win with a lot. He won with that horse the other day in that mediocre, and you and I didn't have the horse, in that mediocre maiden race at a mile. Horse that ran once on turf, And
Oh,
cut it- yeah.
the bottom horse.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that horse won. Anyway, see what happens. Race number 2, we are going 5.5 furlongs on the turf, and you have picked,
I went to Wesley Ward.
because he's having a horrendous year with his 2-year-olds on the dirt and turf, you figured you'd dive right in.
I'm gonna try and wake this one up. Playlist for.
Is there a tip on this horse?
No. Why do you always assume?
No,
every
because, well,
first
you've
the right
had a lot
tip?
of tips, and some of them
I
won.
have,
So I'm
don't
not,
I always lead off my conversation with I have a tip on this horse?
Yeah, okay.
No tip here. Half the you're to blame, who likes to run 73 miles.
On the dirt.
So 5.5 furlongs on the turf will
There's
make
no
a lot of
turf
sense.
pedigree on this guy.
The
Except
dam
for
was
Uncle
0 for
Mo.
1. Yeah, there's really not much turf pedigree.
Produced one horse who was good in the dirt and didn't handle the turf at all.
But why? I mean, do we not think Wesley sees this? I don't
Wesley's
know.
running a lot of horses in 2-year-old races. He runs on surfaces. He sees all of them. And for most part this year, he's done very poorly.
A couple of breezes across the street after a couple of solid works down at Keeneland. Now the Keeneland times are, I mean, you and I could probably work 47 at Keeneland out of the gate. So, yeah, I just figured I'd give this one a shot.
Okay.
I don't think I realized this horse was the 3-1 morning line favorite when I picked this horse.
Horse that has pedigree in here for Christophe Clement, and I like the 2-year-old sales workout on Don't Look Back at All. Peace and Justice. Was that John Sheriff's? Or am I totally wrong? on
That sounds right.
The War Front. The dam was 1 for 8 in the turf. And
PA bred.
She is the dam of NYC, who was didn't win in the turf, but was a very solid runner in turf for Todd Pletcher. The dam produced another turf winner.
Just got beat up here a couple of summers ago, right?
Yep.
Was that a spirit animal?
No, I think maybe in the stakes. But regardless of that, this horse was ridden pretty hard in the 2-year-old workout. But still, I mean, I know that the Clement barn has been a little bit on the chilly side, but to ignore this horse, in my opinion, I don't think there's really better trainer at winning with first-time stars in the turf than Christophe Clement, long and short, consistently year after year. Not to say this one's going to win, but I think you would, and I don't think you'll disagree. You pick a lot of them in New York.
I do.
They're terrific. It's a West Point. I have to think that horse is a player in here. I've taken the number 11 who gets in, Reflexivity. This is a horse that actually was RNA'd at OBS after working 9 4/5. It's a European Klarovich horse. I'm going to take this horse. I have no idea if this horse can run, none whatsoever, but I'm going to take this one. Now, I do worry a little bit with the rails going down. Could the outside post not be as advantageous as it is at other times? But with those rails out as far as they were, I doubt we see any kind of strong inside bias on the melon. I think you'll see the first 4 or 5 paths actually be of similar strength. So
That
I'm
makes
not,
sense, yeah.
but I do. But I think our other horse here, what about, I'm not even going to try to pronounce the name of the 2. That horse is a half to turf winners. The dam won on the turf. Why can't that horse win? I mean,
Yeah,
Graham
well,
Motion's dangerous first time on the
I
turf.
wonder what Johnny I's going to go with here. A Sour?
I'm not even going to try. Can't Keep It Down. Who
Can't keep me down, Andy.
Can't Keep Me
Can't
Down.
keep me
Excuse me.
down.
You can't keep Todd Pletcher down. He closed the
No.
gap to 6 yesterday with a 3-win day. He does have some solid numbers. At Saratoga with 2-year-old firsters in turf sprints, he's 3 for 8 over the last 5 years, 261 ROI, 5 hitting the board. Is a factor, and the dam did win in the turf, so I think that has to be dangerous. But once again, it's Irad Ortiz, so Lady Caravaggio is the one I want no part of. Bill Mott is 0 for 13 with only 1 hitting the board with 2-year-old first-time stars in turf sprints.
Wow.
Dam is produced 4 horses try the turf, though, and 3 of them won, so there is plenty of turf pedigree in that horse.
This horse had a consistently fast work tap. Much faster than we are accustomed to seeing from the Mott barn. 47
Love
2,
those work
48,
taps.
48, 47. Well, it's just something that I think a guy like Mott, where the horses don't ordinarily work fast, I think it sticks out like a sore thumb when they do.
Horses fast sometimes.
So, but more often than not, you see more 50s and 102s than you see 47s and 48s.
Going back to the first race, Maggie made an interesting point to me. That 59 work you mentioned in Supersonic was almost a month ago, for what it's worth.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, end of July.
Race number 3. It's number 3. So we have the same horse in here. Why don't you tell us why you like the horse?
Well, I mean, for me, the big thing here is the drop. I just feel like this horse is taking the right drop. Going to have a target. I think this horse is going to be a little bit better with a target. Last time found himself on an easy lead, but I just think this horse with the one stop, the spread in the race, we're going to go from the rail with Jose Gomez. I would imagine Icarus is going to get a good setup. Just
You also partially picked it because it's Manny Franco replacing Eric Cancel, right? I mean, it's okay.
can I get to it?
But let me start with that.
No, because it's not the main reason. I mean,
The
I
main reason to like this
horses
horse-
dropping down from 2 allowance races. I know they're against 3-year-olds, but dropping into the condition claiming race and the fact that this horse is going to get a target. Yes, I like the fact that he's getting Manny Franco from Eric Cancel, but I do like the fact that this horse is getting the target. I think that's the most important thing here. This horse's races.
It's not. The most important
you
thing
can
about
think-
this
you can
horse
think what you
is
like.
he raced on a dead rail last time. That's the most important thing that needs to be mentioned about Icarus, in my opinion. We've seen consistently horses that raced in the dead rail in those periods, in those 2 different week periods back at Belmont, have come back and run a lot better because they raced in a dead rail on the turf. So while he gets a rider upgrade, I don't disagree, he drops down, he's also coming off a dead rail trip, and it makes his performance look significantly worse than it was. So in my opinion, I don't think there's anything more important than this horse racing a dead rail. You disagree, which is fine, but I don't think there's anything more important than that.
Okay.
I mean, I think that's important
fine.
here. So St. Joe Louis, who I scratched into for 4th, and you have 2nd. I'm just glad you didn't pick him on top after he was rained off the other day. I think that the key to this race is betting against St. Joe Louis. I mean, it's sort of incredible that this horse has been favored every race in his career. 9 starts, 1 win in 5 seconds. And believe me, you don't want to take a good look at the PPs of the horse that beat him last time out. He ran an 80 buyer in this race and ran a 70 buyer in his next start. There are so many interesting things going on in here. And I know St. Joe Louis, he's got Chad Brown and all these things, but man, I mean, he's 5-2 on the line. In my opinion, if he wins, you are supposed to lose in this race. I wouldn't use him in any multi-race bet. This horse wins a race, he's going to do it without my money on it.
This is really.
Yes.
Wow.
Why would you want a horse that's lost at 50 cents the dollar, 60 cents the dollar, 50 cents the dollar, and 90 cents the dollar at Monmouth and Tampa in the last 4 races? And the last race in New York was $1.20 and ran 8th. Why would you want any part of this horse?
Andy, he is facing, and I know that field last time was hungry.
He's
What
facing
is
a
he has a,
significantly better field.
yeah,
than he's been
I'm not
running
saying that,
under.
but he has multiple figs that are just better than everything in here.
Not recently, and what he is a proven loser for a trainer.
You don't think the race is at the start of the year? I mean, he's only run twice since February. I mean, I think that
Based
would
on
probably
his
be one of
last
his
race,
Based on his
I
last
don't
race, he'll
think
get
his
nothing.
chance race to win this race is under 10%. This is for a trainer that wins, and every time he loses at a short price, it's a massive black mark. And it's one thing you get a little unlucky, you get caught in a tough field, and somebody runs big to beat you. They're not running big to beat him; they're just beating him over and over. Taking a horse that's lost 4 straight times at odds-on for trainer Chad Brown, 3 at Tampa and 1 at Monmouth, up at Saratoga, with a field of unknowns. I mean, how about Royal Spirit in this race? You're not interested in him at all for Todd Pletcher? I mean, he was 4 wide basically around the track last time and ended up way out in the track, and Luis just wrapped up on him when he was hopelessly beaten in that race. I know he ran poorly and off a turf, but look at his races down in Florida. And you can say, well, it was Florida. It was by a neck to Grand Sonata. He's dropping. I get that. But you're going to tell me that he's impossible? He's dropping. His last race looks bad.
No, he's not impossible.
I mean, I think he is considerably more likely to win this race than St. Joe Louis is. What's wrong with Hard Rye Guy? You think he just wants to go farther? He's got figs going shorter.
I think he
that
wants a
make
little
sense
bit more
here.
ground, and the problem with him is just I can't imagine this is going to be a very fast pace. These horses that are just so far at the back are going to
Well,
be so up against it.
Except it isn't, because the 9 scratch, so that does change the pace scenario. But Royal Spirit's going to be right on top of the pace set by Stop the Spread. In a lot of ways, I think that might make Royal Spirit the worst to beat. The scratch of the 9 really, really helps Royal Spirit in this race. And, I mean, you're talking about, I agree about Hard Ride Guy. He doesn't have any speed. I'll give you a horse that's kind of just not good enough in here, and I didn't put him in my top 4. But I do want to show assiduously. It's a mistake to have moved him up in company. But this is a horse that's had repeated bad trips. Now, I just don't think he's good enough to beat these horses. But look what happens to him in the stretch. It's not Trevor's fault. He's saving ground. He is running at the end of this race. To be fair, the race may have been coming apart a little bit, but he's running, and he just gets completely, see him down on the inside, right in there, he is just going to get completely stopped, and Trevor has to eat him in there. I think he's capable of running a figure in the mid-70s, which doesn't make him impossible in this race. I probably should have put him fourth because I don't want any part of St. Joe Louis. I mean,
Okay.
you and I see this race very, very differently.
We
even
pick
though
the
have
same horse on top and still see it very differently.
Well,
It's
we don't
amazing.
agree about why you're supposed to pick the horse on top, and we just, I mean, to me, the focus of this race is to bet against St. Joe Louis. You just don't see it that way.
I don't. No.
Yeah, okay. Race number 4. Race number 4. You have Star Attitude for Carlos on top. What's going on there?
Yeah. I thought this horse had a really weird start at Belmont. I don't know what went on that day. We're going to joke about this, but Carlos had mentioned he thought this horse had a little ability. He ran into Lost Ark. It was a weird start. Then
Who
they
was
put
Lost
him right
Ark
on the,
again? Remind me.
That's Todd?
I know Marion Ravenwood, the female lead, the Karen Allen lead, was the dam from Raiders of the Lost Ark.
That's
I don't know. I didn't look it up.
that's Nest's sister? Nest's brother?
Sounds very possible.
Yes.
That sounds right.
This is Nest's
This horse had a
brother.
very, very minor stumble at the start, an extremely minor stumble. Nothing really special.
Then they went to the turf, and so took a lot of money on the turf. Now the blinkers go on, slight drop in for the big tag. Wanted to give this horse a chance second time dirt, third time overall at a decent price. 5-1 on the morning line.
Okay. There's certainly nobody that's running here that's run particularly special. You do have Ia and Royal Mover, who both come out of the Great Navigator race. And for those not familiar with Great Navigator finished second in our Sanford to start the meet. Sanford start the meet?
Sanford starts to meet. Saratoga Special
And
on
ran
two
very
hole.
well in that race. And the third finisher came back to win and improve the Beyer figure 5 points. That horse was the other speed that ran with this horse. And I prefer Ia. I can understand why Royal Mover, another race, could be dangerous in here. I'm certainly not against Royal Mover. I think both of them are very playable in here. I would use them. But I'm going to go in a very, perhaps idiotic direction in this
No,
race.
I wouldn't say it's idiotic. The coach's horse has been running well.
Well, it's not that. I mean, this is a horse that just was completely eased last time after he sort of stopped. I mean, he was going nowhere when he was eased. He's run against much, much better horses. And it just feels to me like this is the kind of Lucas horse that's going to wake up on the drop down. And I think a lot of people see, I think this is the first maiden claiming race we run for 2-year-olds?
No, I think there was one other one.
Okay. And they'll see 75,000. It's a nebulous price. It's not likely that there's a lot of horses near worth $75,000, so I don't worry about that. I just think the change in company, and I have no issues with the 6 and 7. I think they're logical in here. You have a different idea with the 8. I don't really want Secret Thunder, who I think is going to take some money for Danny Gargan. We'll show the sales where it's worth a solid 10 flat. The 2-year-old sale, that was back in March and is now in for $75,000 after selling for $120,000. Now, I understand, probably not getting claimed out of here, but you didn't buy the horse for $120,000.
No.
You
For
do
any
it a
tag.
75 maiden at Saratoga off a very nice 10 flat work at the March sale, not the April sale. For what it's worth, first-time starters, maiden claimers and dirt sprints. Danny Gargan's 3 for $11, $1.65. It's a fair stat with a takeout. He's basically at the takeout, and he wins. With 2-year-olds, he's 2 for 6 with a positive ROI. So Danny does win with these type of horses. I don't know. I just have a bad taste in my mouth. 120,000, good workout, and comes in.
Yeah,
for
seeing any
75.
tag is kind of a little off-putting, but both have the horse fourth.
To be fair, Danny may be looking at it like if somebody really wants to claim this horse for 75, he's not good. He's not as good as we thought,
Right.
but he's still okay, and we're not going to win a maiden special weight with him. So there's probably a fair argument he's right running here, and it's not like they're taking this horrendous risk, right?
Right.
They'll
No.
lose, a few dollars, and they've already kind of lost a little bit with him because he's not a maiden special type horse in all
Right.
likelihood, right? So maybe Danny's just running him where he can win. Interesting thing about Mr. Bob here, right?
Are we assuming this horse is named after?
That's not what's interesting, but yeah, I
Well,
assume
back for Nick Zito.
Well, Nick Zito hasn't had a horse for Bob LaPenta in
Yeah.
quite a long time. Of course, they enjoyed an enormous amount of success together over the years. Cliff's Edge comes to mind, but a lot of good horses. Datara. Yeah.
Why did I just go?
Ice Bar.
I just went to go call the Tara Sarava for some reason.
No. They both won the Belmont at big prices.
At gigantic prices, yeah.
Yeah. But I thought that was interesting. I ran into Nick the other night actually at dinner at Max's. Race number 5. Race number 5 is a tough race. but it did enable me to do something that I really just did for the Big A because I'm a giver. So what are we doing here, Anth?
I went to Giocari.
You know, I just happen to have a replay that
Come
involves
on.
Giocari. I do. I show the Kumar win 2 back, and
Yes.
Giocari finished 3rd.
Thanks, Andy.
Why do you like Giocari?
You know I love seeing my boy Kumar, who's in here. Claim back by Rudy. I'm not going to get overly excited about getting a second win for Rudy's barn. You know,
But you still picked this one.
I did. I really wonder how many of these horses in here want to go long. And at the end of the day, I just picked the 3 horses who have wins, going the mile and an eighth. He's going to be the best price, I would imagine, because of the rut the barn is in. And David has him the biggest of the 3 horses. They're the 3 favorites. To me, this is about the distance. I've never been a proponent of direct order getting this far. Mount kind of exposed himself last time, and now he's off the drop.
He exposed himself a few times.
Yeah,
but
you know,
regardless.
Warrior in Chief is what he is. My boy Kumar does not want to go this long.
Well, that's not true. He's actually run okay.
He's
Going
run
a
okay, but I think his better races are around
He
the
was
one
set-
turn.
They're actually not. His big figure in the race that we showed was earned on a very strong inside bias. The problem is inside speed. Giocari was on the rail as well, but he didn't have speed, so he was compromised in that race. So I don't think he ran badly in there, but he also was relatively close and probably in a better part of the track. The reality is that Kumar's fine going a mile and eighth. He's got a 79 buyer figure going a mile and eighth at Saratoga, and you look at his races, and that's probably right, maybe even
In
slightly
line.
above the average of what he runs. So he actually is capable of running this. And I'll tell you something about him. With the scratches, with the scratch of the 4, the 3 and 6 have some speed, but don't you think he's going to be sitting
supposed
a
to
pretty
be
good trip in this race?
Well, I mean,
Isn't he going to be sitting a good stalk in 3rd here?
probably better. Probably makes more sense for him to try to send him and clear.
Well, it's a very tough post to get the lead, and I don't think that
6
he's gonna
hole, yeah, it
look
kinda
to go
is.
wild with him. He's a horse who can stalk and be effective. I think the scratch, in a lot of ways, really helped him. It took a speed out and a speed inside of him, so it tempers the pace, and it kind of works against both your pick and my pick in this race. I mean, the horse, and I scratched him at 4th, you might have as well, that's kind of silly here is direct order,
Yeah.
because Joe Sharp has great numbers off the claim with dirt routers. They're almost all at Churchill. He's 0 for 5 at Saratoga off the claim in a dirt route. for
Probably
what
some
it's worth.
fairgrounds in there too, right?
No, it's Churchill.
Really? Okay.
I'm sure there's some fairgrounds, but I don't have the exact number. But we have talked on the show many times that Joe Sharp is something like 10 for 17 off the claim with dirt routers at Churchill.
Wow.
He's got a wild. I mean, I'm sure he's won at fairgrounds, but it's Churchill where he has
Churchill
this
bounce.
crazy percentage. It's definitely over 50%.
That's nuts.
Yeah, it's insane. It's crazy. He won with a horse late in the meet. I actually had never looked at the stat, and that's why it's sort of fresh in my mind. And he also won a terrible race last time that was a total war of
Oh,
attrition.
awful.
Joe would have to move this horse up, and he's not a big
Tried
price.
to get Ragtime lose a mile last time.
Right,
yeah.
exactly. I mean, he wasn't even running.
No.
I picked him.
Ragtime
He
Lou was
wasn't even
coming back
running.
to him.
It was just
Yeah.
it was just like he just sort of like
Running in place and the
outflowed
other
the
one was coming
wire.
back,
Right,
yep.
exactly. It was an optical illusion. One of the reasons that I'm excited about picking locally owned is I get to show his win in the Grand Prix American Jockey Club.
Yeah.
A
Now you want
prestigious race
to suck up to
that
the race that
Anthony
you got
Stabile
killed.
destroyed.
Thanks, Andy.
It was a very important race here. Now, he was riding a gold rail this day when he beat his stablemate at a big price, Lone Rock. You know, his form has declined, and that's to say the least. He comes out of a killer race last
does.
time out against Zoomer, and I'm just going to take him on the drop down. I just feel like maybe he wakes up and he just beats these horses. He is a little bit hurt by the scratch of the 4, but I'm going to hope it's a relatively fairly run race, and he's just can remember that once he was better than these.
Yeah. Wasn't that? I mean, it was a year ago.
He once he was a warrior.
Yeah.
You ever see the movie, the New Zealand movie about the Maoris once were warriors?
No.
Some of you have seen it. You would love it. Great movie.
You have to start making a list here.
No, Once Were Warriors. Johnny's seen Once Were Warriors, right, Johnny? Once Were Warriors. Tremendous movie. Once Were Warriors. Were we
Once were warriors.
WE apostrophe RE.
It's a New Zealand
Once
movie.
we
Come
were
on, Johnny.
warriors.
Get on
Anyway,
this.
great movie. That's the first 5. Late pick 5 after a quick break. Oh no.
almost 150 years, the Saratoga name has been synonymous with the finest quality, sustainably sourced spring water available anywhere. Saratoga carries on the rich tradition of its forefathers by crafting each stunning blue glass bottle with the same attention to detail and care that has been its hallmark for generations. Visit SaratogaSpringwater.com today or ask for us by name at your local market or restaurant. Saratoga Spring Water. Make every day exquisite.
We're back.
Hello.
Anthony, Andy, mile and a half on the inner turf. Rails are up 9 feet.
You like that?
So you and I have gone in the same direction in here with the number 7. Light Stars, have at it.
Hoping that the race under her belt off the 9 months last time, Joelle Rosario got to ride her last time for the first time, obviously, in her first start in the U.S. I would imagine she is going to be able to settle a little better. She was kind of, it was hard for Joelle to really get control of her early on last time. And you just imagine second time in this country. Christoph's numbers, if I remember, aren't great first time in this country. And now he's had her for a while. Hopefully she settles down. I wanted an alternative to the favorite. I'm assuming like you did. I mean, the
Well,
favorite.
I don't think we're taking a horse at a big price in here.
We're
but-
not. No, I mean, we're taking the logical alternative to the favorite.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. This is one time when I actually agree with you on everything. And Joelle, she was rank on Joelle, getting her to settle, and she broke about 3/4 slow. She galloped out very strongly. Christophe, as you said, not great with his Europeans. And she's not just your average European. I mean, I know she was 14th, but she was beaten 6 lengths by Joan of Arc in the Prix-Diane last year, the French Oaks, and she ran in some very strong races. Now, I will say the 3-year-old fillies in France probably were not as strong as they've been some other years, but still, she has credentials, and she really felt like a horse that badly needed that race last
But
time
she's gonna
out.
need. She's
And
gonna
was
need to
supposed
have
run
needed
better.
that race and improve.
I don't think she's going to be much of a price in here. I mean, I think she's going to be relatively close in price to Rocky Sky, but I agree with you about these things. The other thing is, and we'll get to Rocky Sky in a minute, and I have an opinion on Rocky Sky. I don't know who I really want in this race. I mean, Champagne Ivy, she didn't run that badly. She sort of staked, but she had no finish last time. Todd's horse Beside Herself, I guess she could improve going long, and that's a wild card for her. Queen Bourbon, I think, is okay. Because one thing about Queen Bourbon, she ran well to win 2 races back and is a router, and then she just got the wrong trip last time, 2 to 3 wide around the track. Not one of the better trips that a horse has gotten. And I think Queen Bourbon is probably the other horse you want to use here. You have her 4th, but I don't know if she's as good as the bottom 2, but she's a horse that's improved with distance, and her last race was a total no-shot trip.
Yeah, she didn't have she had a great ride 2 starts back when she won the 8 of the then, and last time she had no chance.
Well, you say that, but she also, I mean, she saved ground, but it was also a slow pace she closed into back. So I thought she ran well to win it. Mia Martine, I know she has a big fig, but that was kind of a semi-suck-up number. As far as Rocky Sky, we'll show her last race. I have a strong opinion about this horse in here, which might be a stupid opinion. And I do agree, Beside Herself is probably going to go. If I were Chad Brown, I'd tell Irad to send this horse.
Comes out of much faster races, especially in the early running.
Well, the other thing about her is, first of all, she's chicken going through on the inside. She's got all the qualities, right? Chicken going through inside, the Mott horse, the clean run outside. Now, maybe if she was clear, she would have made a more effective run, but you can't blame Flavian. I mean, it's not like he didn't ride her well in here. He rode her terrific. That win in the race at one of your favorite racetracks, Navon? You should pronounce it as one of your favorite spots. At 1.25 miles, they just sent
Palindromic.
They just sent this horse. It's very good. It is a palindrome. Is it palindromic or is it a palindrome?
I believe it's palindromic.
They just sent this horse. Now, I understand the paces over there are slower than ours, though. Judging by some of the paces we'll probably see in this race, I'm not sure that's true. I would just go. Don't let her be brave. Let her go. What do you have to lose at this point?
The reason I put Beside Herself above Queen Bourbon, I just think she has a little bit more speed tactically. I would imagine Pratt would be a little bit more aggressive with Beside Herself. But yeah, you're right. I mean, I would, if I'm Rocky Sky, and like you said, Andy, she's already kind of marked herself as being a little faint-hearted. Right. Horses kind of lose that when they're in front, and You know,
To be
there's
fair,
nobody
this
around
is a
them.
softer field that she's been in.
It
To
is.
be fair.
But,
But she
you
gets
know-
more distance. Isn't her weapon that she can be forward?
It should be, and there's enough of a run to the far turn. Well, this is 3 turns. There's enough of a run to the far turn where if they're aggressive enough, they can get over.
Well, the other thing is if you're not,
You're going to be
lose
hung out to
ground.
dry.
Right.
Correct.
That's
That
race-
decision has to be made early on.
that's race number 6. Race number 7, we lost a horse that I thought was a player. Michael Dickinson's not going to come up. I'm always disappointed. We could have seen Michael. Could have come over to the set, chat with me. I think I'm on with LaDuca today. I think a LaDuca, Dickinson, Serling lineup would be
Say that again.
legendary. LaDuca, Dickinson, Serling. That would be legendary, right?
Oh my God. How do we make that happen?
It's a dream team.
That's
Dancing with the Stars. I have to ask you a question, and you're not
What's
the only
the
one.
question, Andy?
Nobody in DRF has this horse. How is this horse not favored in this race? David has this horse 6-1 morning line.
something like
I
that.
understand it's a mile and 3/16, but this horse has the fastest figs of anybody in here. Is 3 for 5 at Saratoga.
Love Saratoga.
And who in this race is anybody going to latch on? Listen, maybe David's right. I feel like I looked at different PPs, and you're not the only one that left this horse out. What is wrong with this horse? Isn't he just super logical in here?
I think he lacks some bells and whistles. It's not Pratt and Brown with James Jones. It's not Joel and Pletcher with an equal fig first-time turf runner last time and impulsiveness.
He just has wins. I understand he has been beating New York breds, but he's also won 3 races.
Listen,
Who are all the others in here that have won 3 races?
they haven't.
Oh, none of them.
They haven't.
I think he's going to be favored, and personally, I think he should be favored in here. I
There
don't
is
love him.
0 chance this horse will be favored. 0 chance.
You know he's never been favored?
It's impossible
that's-
this horse is the favorite. I think you're going to get all of that 6-1 if you like him. I really do.
Okay, I tell you what. You can have 1280. I'll take 1270 and below. We're at 113 lunches.
1280. I'll take it.
Okay, 1270 or below on Dancing with the Stars in here. Okay, that's one lunch. I disagree, and I'm probably wrong. You're probably right. So I have to admit, I've been waiting a long time to hear what you possibly like about Carloon.
You've had 2 whole days. These picks been up since Tuesday.
Yeah, and I've been waiting patiently for an explanation of this.
So I think an extra 3/16 of a mile of a series of mile races.
The horse ran sprints in Europe.
Yeah, but
Kingman's
sources
are usually better shorter than longer.
Sources closing ground in all 3 of the mile races here.
Okay, other than Irad Ortiz having
Getting
him out,
around Ortiz, which I think is a little interesting.
so he'll be
I
15
do.
to 1 instead of 30 to 1. I mean, he would be 30 to 1 with another rider, right?
I just wanted a goofy horse in here. I do not like. I shouldn't say I don't like. I don't want to rely on the chalks in here. So we have the Thursday blog up over at Naira Bets, and we put a late pick 4. As much as I wanted to put a late pick 5 ticket, it was too expensive. So I put a late pick 4 ticket up. I used the 4 horses on the screen, 1, 7, 8, and 11.
He's significantly the slowest horse in
He
the race.
is slow. He is slow.
Significantly the
He's
slowest
slow.
horse in the race.
He's slow.
I mean,
But
literally everybody in this race is better than him.
he's slow. Hoping the distance helps his cause. He won going 1.25 miles over in Europe on the all-weather.
Isn't there a better argument distance would be his enemy, not his friend? They're just sort of getting desperate.
His one race overseas where he went long was probably his best race. It was his only win overseas.
It was
only
8
win,
to 5
period.
on synthetic
I
at
got it.
Marseille.
But then he came here and he caught soft ground in that race that Saad, who was in John's call yesterday, was in.
Yeah.
And then he ran 3/3.
Handled soft ground in Europe. Okay.
I'm,
good luck.
Listen, I'm taking a little bit of a swing here. I know I'm going to lose some value at Arad there, but I just wanted to get a price,
Okay.
a horse that was going to be a price.
This is a tricky race. I will not argue with that. This is a very hard race, and I think impulsiveness is a tough horse to really take because he walked on the front end, and we saw Indemnify lose to his stablemate in his next start. And I'm not sure how strong that race really was, and he just walked on the front end, and he's not supposed to get the lead in here with Modern Science.
Sea
and
Falls,
Sea Falls
yeah.
has to go. I mean, Manny's got to go from the outside. He didn't even run that badly last time. I like James Jones, who tried to close up the inside last time. Starting over is a Rob Falcone horse that beat him, that's actually run against some better horses than these. I thought his maiden win was good, and then he got caught in that turf course over there, and God only knows what happened at Churchill. And I thought his last race actually a lot better than it may look at first glance. I thought he was a perfectly logical horse and a Chad Brown horse that won't be a super short price in this race. How about the Gray
I think
Wizard?
he'll be the favorite.
I don't know who's going to be favored here, but the Gray Wizard, new gelding. Now, I'm a little dubious he's a new gelding. He might be. I guess he probably is, but maybe he raced first time.
It's been 2 months.
He moved too soon last time. He broke a length slow and actually moved a little soon and got caught from behind. Cuts back in distance. I think he's very dangerous for Graham Motion.
I have him second.
Yeah.
I thought he was
a big time player in here.
If I wasn't just looking for a goofball, I would have probably put him on top. And yeah, I know you remember the gelding. Maybe he came here as a gelding, but it has been 2 months. So.
No, he could be a new gelding. I'm so leery of those because there are ones that are mistakes, and I wish it was never put in the form because it's not 100% accurate. But that's just me. It's an interesting race. Some distance turf racing today. Saranac gets in as well. Daniel Hodson. Daniel Hodson used to ride
jumpers for Jonathan Shepard. Yeah.
Yeah. I thought this horse ran okay last time out. This horse is not impossible getting in off the AEs, and I don't think should be totally dismissed. This horse is actually not bad, and I think Saranac is a horse.
Also comes out of that race on the flat for the.
Yeah, the problem is that race, and I know you like Sod out of that race. That race was about a $4,000 claiming race, but we'll see. Race number 8.
Next.
Race number 8. I'm rooting for my friend Nick Zito. Did my mic die? No, it's sorry.
No, you're good.
Alessia did have a trip last time, but I thought the race that he scratched out of, the one the Liquidity Provider was in, was a much softer spot than the one that she finds herself in today. But she actually did run very well and was best that day at Keeneland, so I'm hoping that Nick can get a win with her, and I don't think she's impossible. We'll show the replay of Tizzy in the Sky, a horse you and I both pick. Have at it.
Yeah, this horse was well meant first time out. Actually, it was second choice at 8-5, and here she is. Looks like she's home Jerome here. And then she gets to being a little, I don't know, a little lackadaisical on the front end, I guess. I know a lot of people blame Joel Rosario here, but kind of looks to me like she's just being kept in the middle of the track, and now she sees that horse coming up the inside, and Joel kind of brings her down in there, and by then it's a little too late. The winner, Empire Hope, had a little bit too much momentum, but you see, she doesn't let her. She stays on with her. She keeps going after her. I thought if she improved a little bit off that effort, all of these fillies would have to step up their game.
Yeah, I have a different interpretation of that race than you. She raced 4 wide around the track that day, and I think it was a gold rail. I also think that the buyer figure for that race, in retrospect, came back a little on the low side. Hooterland ran 10 points better. Empire Hope came back and got mired down a rail that wasn't the place to be and actually ran well against a better field in her subsequent start. And she came up the fence in that race, actually, for Chad Brown. I think it's a better race. And there's been a trainer change. The owner took this horse away from Ray Handel. I think they had a couple horses with Ray Handel, but we've seen Jose Cameo doing very well, so I'm not worried about that. And I think this horse was against the track, and I just thought was clear the horse to beat. There are new players in this race, though, and horses like Precursory and even Handbell. Now, Handbell comes out of a super slow fig race that's actually probably an aberrationally low figure. Is probably much closer. In the first race the horse ran, if you look at going forward, horse gets Lasix off a break. I'm not a big fan. But if Precursory, I think Precursory, the 8, is going to benefit from less distance in here.
So do I.
But she's made her move and kind of flattened out.
Flattened
and she
out.
lost to Demand and Respect, who I think she came back and ran, actually Spike that ran 9 points better. Demand and Respect was a Chad Brown horse that just took $1 zillion off of mediocre PPs and ran off like a wildebeest. I think she's dangerous. What about Liquidity Provider, who comes out of that race that Ms. Salvig was in, who ran 3rd? Dover Dreams in there as well, closed some ground for Brennan Walsh. I feel like that was the spot the Liquidity Provider was supposed to win in last time, though.
Backyard Money, you see her on the inside. Looks like she's not going to get anything off the turn, and she's going to actually re-rally along the inside to get the job done over Liquidity Provider, who was well meant. I know the barn liked this horse first time, and you and I talk about this a lot, Andy. When they like a horse, when the barn likes a horse first time out, and they don't get the job done.
Almost 3.5 to 1.
Yeah, that was the other thing too.
super short price.
Yeah, just misses here. The backyard money.
Backyard Money came back and ran one buyer point higher in a subsequent start. So it's not as though this race wasn't good, but I just think there's like other players coming in. Ms. Solvig did a little running. She got a good trip coming from way back, but I thought did a little bit of running in there. But I also think both Mott horses are potentially dangerous, particularly Precursory, who I just thought maybe a little less distance and better. This is a I guess my problem with Liquidity Provider who can win is, and I did put her second, this is a much tougher field than the one she was in last time. And Alicia scratched out of that race, and now she comes into a tougher spot. But I don't think Alicia should be ignored, and I think people ignore her because Nick hasn't been winning. And she was best. That race is worth watching if you haven't seen it from Keeneland. A rare runner from Jess's Dream.
Yeah.
Race number 9. Let me ask you a question.
You keep asking me if you ask me a question. Just
Who do you
ask
think is
it.
going to be favored in this race?
I believe the answer to that question is customer list.
I agree with that. I think she's a mortal lock to be favored in this race.
Yeah.
And
Off of the trip last time.
yes, I think
would
everybody
imagine-
saw
Yeah.
it was a combination of trips, and we'll show it. Customer listed the 6 in here, and this was just a disaster. And while this was going on, Javier Castellano, as very adeptly, because I think Danny Gargan had the lone speed. Was that her scratch the gate?
Yes.
Yeah,
Javier just
Javier's
walked the
great
dog.
at that, and he walked in the front end. And there's customer lift. She almost fell down there, getting completely squeezed back, almost falls down, steadied back to last. So even without the trouble, from the position she was in, what possible chance did she have in the race? Now,
51-15, just getting bogged down, just getting the dog
she
walked
did
on her.
save ground in this race, for the most part. I mean, she's
Right.
too wide in the first turn, but got to the inside. But when you consider the pace and the trouble, and you've got Chad Brown, Irad Ortiz, I believe that she was favored last time, that she'll be favored again.
And now by the time she has to start to sprint home, Canisi has a 5-length lead on her.
Just too slow a pace.
Yeah.
I don't disagree. And I find it hard to believe that Canisi will be a shorter price than her, but crazier things have happened. Linda's Gift was caught 3 wide in that race, though, and even though she was on the slow pace, she lost a lot of ground. It was her last race that I like Linda's Gift out of, because Linda's Gift was one of the few horses that made a real move, not saving ground. She was 2 wide in the first turn, 2 wide in the backstretch, and she moved wide in the stretch, and she was closing to a race with a super slow pace that totally held together, and the first 2 finishers the winner spent the entire race in the rail, and the second horse spent 90% of the race in the rail, or 85% of the race in the rail. So she was way against it and ran well, and she's going to be a much, much better price. I know she's coming back on short rest. I don't love that. I put her on top just because she'll be a much better price. And if I thought customer list would be 5-1, I would have picked her too. I just don't believe that's even a remote possibility.
Yeah, I don't think she'll be that price either.
We'll see what happens, but you have no love for Wonka? I can't believe you left a Bill Mott horse out. I showed this replay just for you and all Oompa Loompas. I mean, what do you do with Wonka?
I don't know.
We'll show the race that she ran. I mean, she ran okay in here, right? I'm wondering how strong this field was.
Also, well, yeah, I thought this was her best race by far. I mean, she was really good here, made up a ton of ground late.
Improved off a maiden win.
I'm sorry?
I thought she was far. I didn't pick her, but I didn't think she was impossible in here. I don't think she ran on. I'm not sure how. I know she won a mile 16. I wonder if she's better in those one.
That's what I'm thinking. She's better just
tough
around the one
post,
turn.
too.
Yeah, I do. Just being allowed to settle and make one run. That's what I think.
How do you see this race being run? It's interesting because Missy Greer's got to go. Isn't Republique going to go also?
Yeah, I mean, first time
Hot
on the
speed.
turf, half to Rombauer, the Preakness winner.
Bauer didn't win.
He
the
did
turf.
win. He was 1 for 2.
Yeah, no, he did not win the
He
turf.
won on the turf. Rombauer was 1 for 2. He won on all 3 surfaces.
Okay, you're right.
Yeah.
The dam was over 3 on
Yeah.
the turf. I'm sorry, I wrote them the wrong order. Yeah, but he ran a very slow figure.
Yeah, slow
He
figure.
improved on other surfaces. A strong mandate.
I think it might have been a minor stakes race out in California.
I think Skims is okay.
Mm-hmm.
We both got her third.
Yeah. She runs fast enough figures where problem with her is she just always seems to run the same race. You know what I mean? Like, but I mean, you see Spenderella, you see Consumer Spending, you see other stakes place fillies in here, and you say to yourself, is this a little bit, customer list, Canisi, they have the potential to be better than Dolce, Zellenem, and Victor, but they still have to get there, and she's kept this company, and I mean, if she runs back to the Spenderella third behind Spenderella and Dolce Zell, she's going to be really tough. The problem is
her race two back.
her race
She
two
should've been
back.
second.
Yeah, she should have been second.
Faith in Humanity got a big time form U.S. figure, unless Craig has updated it, that I just don't buy. The speeds ran 1-2 around the track. I think there's something amiss with that number.
Okay.
The buyer figure is probably more accurate. But they are taking a shot with a horse that would have to improve. But how much does she really have to improve second time
Not
out?
much.
What
Not
about
much.
Gina Romantica?
Gina
Going on the
Roman-
turf for the first
the
time.
other
for
Chad, yeah.
Brown. Any thoughts?
Dan was 0 for 1 on the grass. Tried to run the source. Was this source? This source was not main track only on Derby Day,
Incorrect.
right?
This horse was an MTO.
Was MTO. Okay. Thought this was, yeah, she's in first time on the turf for her. She has the one breeze across the street.
She's a half to dirt horse, half to gift box, actually.
Gift box and
the second dam was 0 for 4 on the
there's
grass.
I didn't write it down, but there's maybe one after gift box, one on the turf.
There's a turf winner from there, but
Yeah,
it's
minor
much more of a
stakes
dirt
horse.
family, and Chad showing known inclination to run on the turf,
Mm-hmm.
and I wonder if he's just sort of taking a shot here with her. But listen, wouldn't shock me.
No.
I mean, the one thing on this race is there are no killers, at least as far as
No.
who has run in here. We'll see how it plays
Amore
out.
as well. Dan was 1 for 13. The win came on the
Yeah,
turf.
but that's a
It's
dirt.
just taking
that's
a long time to get this horse onto the grass.
That's a
right?
dirt family. I think Todd is just taking a
Four,
shot.
four turf works in a row, though, Andy.
Well, yeah, she ran horribly last time.
Yeah.
He's just taking a shot. I mean, it doesn't mean she can't win. I'm not, she's not a terrible dirt horse at one time. Her last race was terrible, but at one time she was okay.
Right, the race 2 back. If she can improve off, if she can run that figure or improve off that slightly on the grass, she could be a player. It's an interesting race.
It's my racehorse, so she'll be an underlay.
Right. Well, of course.
Race number 10.
The finale. We have the same 4 horses.
Digital Future's
Future.
the worst to beat. We'll take a look at his race. The won 2 years ago, and I'll show you a Chad Brown stat. I don't have any argument with him. I mean, he's a 4-year-old with a long layoff, 4-year-old gelding. Somebody wants to claim him, have at it.
Drop to win.
Really, really strong numbers for Chad Brown off 250-plus layoffs in turf races. Crazy strong numbers. Drop down. It feels like
The
a
drop
horse
to
beat.
win, right? Just dropping to win here. Probably going to get claimed.
These were pretty good horse he beat. He's
Yeah.
probably not the horse he was at that time, but I'm not sure he really has to be. Show you a stat for Chad Brown, 7 for 23, 30% turf sprints layoffs. He's 58 for 178, 30% with a 239 ROI with all turf races off the long layoff. Pretty
Yeah.
amazing, actually. Saratoga, for what it's worth, he's 2 for 4 in sprints, and he's 13 for 42 overall with a 261 ROI. This horses just win. I'm not against him. I didn't want to pick him on top at a short price, but he's a horse to beat.
Yeah.
Napa Spirit is the wild card here, right?
Put this horse second, yeah.
We'll show his first race. And by the way, he's a trainer change. It's not in my PPs. But this horse was a Wesley Ward horse. There was actually a Stone Street, as you'll be able to see in this race, because he wins his debut at 2-5 for Wesley, is when Wesley was winning. They went over, and they were actually favored in a stake at Chantilly, Group 3. Now in for 35, gelding, Lasix. I don't know. Feels
Can't
like a-
imagine this horse
a
is going to
weird
be
one,
that
huh?
price either, too, right?
I'd love to know what they paid for this horse.
Right, when
Do
it
you know?
happened.
Do you know Fergus Galvin
No,
or Corbin Bloomberg?
I don't. I do not. Actually, you know what? There's an outside chance I met Corbin the other night. I met a Corbin the other night.
Corbin Burnson?
No,
Not Corbin Burnson.
not Corbin Burnson.
Well, it's probably him because I think there's only 2 Corbins.
No,
I
I
met
know
a
a couple of
Corbin
other
the other night.
Corbins.
The other horse who's dangerous is Uncle George, but he just blows the brake every time. But he
Yep.
is dropping in for a tag for the first time, which I think, he ran okay last time after blowing the brake, but he just can't get out of the gate, this horse. As far as Spetro.
Put Spectral on top? Yeah, I thought.
I don't trust him at 5.5 furlongs. I don't. I wonder if it might just be a little too short for him. But in fairness, he's actually run okay. I mean, he's in a race last time that totally collapsed against probably some better horses. I thought he's run okay in some of his races. I don't love him at 5.5. I thought his effort behind Cotton was decent enough. I just thought he'd be the best priced horse that could win. I didn't want to take Digital Future as a 5-2 favorite. I don't trust Uncle George. I get you with the 12, but he's a wild card.
We have the same 4 horses.
Yeah, I just thought if he could be a 5.5 furlong horse, that he could win here.
I just
trust
thought
him.
you got lazy and put them in number order.
Yeah, that's what it was.
So-
because it's hard to put them not in numerical order. It takes a lot of effort.
That's what I figured. I figured it was the 10th race. You just decided you were done with it and just put 1, 6, 7.
Johnny's making dinner over there, actually. I thought maybe.
Ramen? What are we doing over there? I heard something pop open.
There's a lot of action going on over there.
Oodles
He knows how much I love
Oodles
boys.
of noodles.
We're done. As we head towards Travers weekend, pretty much finished the Travers card. Excited about that day. Of course, New York Bred Showcase Day tomorrow as well. Big day of racing. A lot of good stuff going on in here. We want you to head over to Naira Bets.
You all right? A little loud.
Crazy people. Use the promo code TOGA200, and we will match for $200 of your initial deposit. Join Naira Bets. Play any track, anywhere, anytime for Naira Bets. $10,000 late pick
Love
5.
this.
Hit and split. Hit it. You'll share with everybody else in Naira Bets that hits it, and don't laugh. This is good money if you hit it. All you got to do is hit it. Not an easy sequence. A fun sequence.
We have the blog up for Thursday. I put the pick 4 up. If you want to make it a pick 5, use the 7 and 8 in race 6. Makes it a $96 ticket as opposed to a $48 pick 4.
We have low rollers today. $40 buy-in, $30 bankroll, $10 prize pool. Head over to the Miller Time 4-Star Dave Sports Bar. CJ, C. Ray. Sign up. Have some fun. On track only. Excellent contest. A lot of people play. Lots of fun. Join the crowd. And finally, last, and somewhere close to least, or not, 1 to 6:30. If you can't join us here, join us on FS2 from 1 to 6:30 for Saratoga Live. For Anthony and I, and our friends who are waving to us, have a wonderful day.
Yelling at us?
Beautiful day here at Saratoga. Travers weekend beginning to ramp up. Johnny I up next with a reprise of the Scratched and Changes.
For almost 150 years, the Saratoga name has been synonymous with the finest quality, sustainably sourced spring water available anywhere. Saratoga carries on the rich tradition of its forefathers by crafting each stunning blue glass bottle with the same attention to detail and care that has been its hallmark for generations. Visit SaratogaSpringwater.com today or ask for us by name at your local market or restaurant. Saratoga Spring Water. Make every day exquisite.
Hello, racing fans, and once again, welcome to Saratoga. Mostly sunny skies right now. The temperature today will be in the 80s. The main track is fast. The turf courses are good. The portable rail is up on the inner turf at 9 feet, and no rail in use on the melon turf. In today's first race, scratch number 5, Moon Warrior. Scratch the 5, Moon Warrior.